recording. We're live.
Recording, we're live. All right. Welcome to episode 67 of the Georgie and Patty Show. I am Georgie.
And I am Patty.
And this
Hi.
is a very exciting show today. I know one you've been wanting to do for a very, very, very long time. So I think it's going to be really good for all of our coaches, consultants, really on any kind of entrepreneur that's in our audience today on, how do you choose the right coach, the right program, the right course for you with where you're at. There's so much information out there. So hopefully this is going to be something that's going to give you some guidelines on how to make the decisions that are right for you.
All right. I'm going to share the slides.
Share this puppy up.
Choose the correct slides. Start there. I may or may not have more than one deck open.
So looks like that's the right one.
Well, it's got the right cover on it. We'll see if the content lines up with what I was thinking I was talking about this morning. So how to choose the right program, course, or coach for you. I'm looking at this from multiple sides. In terms of this presentation, it's in a sense, it's a little bit of a buying guide, which, by the way, is something that I recommend that all my clients do, is to create a buying guide for their service, because it helps you figure out what you offer, how it's different from other services, and quite often, the people who buy from us might be buying our service for the first time, and they might not actually know how to buy or what questions to ask. And it can be really enlightening to put something like this together. So this serves multiple kind of perspectives. So it's partly, partly self-serving for us to use for our clients. It's like, hey, Joanna's thinking about signing up for a thing. Take a look at this and see if it's a good fit for you. And it's clarifying to do this. And it's also something I'd really invite you to think about as you think about your own services and what you offer and what your strongest benefits are. And as we go through these many, 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 many questions, for you to think about what your answers are, because that will help you develop stronger marketing. And I'll jump into that a little bit once we get into the content. But I highly, highly, highly encourage you to kind of pick a lane instead of looking at this as like, I want to cover the broad spectrum of everything. Pick your lane, right? Just like this is all good, right? Like it's totally okay for some of those future, like you have your future clients and other people have their future clients, and it's totally okay for you to look at some of this stuff and go, oh, that's not really what I want to do or what I offer. That's great for somebody else's clients, not for me. So with that, I'll let my partner talk about the quote of the day.
All right. So our quote of the day is, whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. There are always difficulties arising which tempt you to believe that your critics are right. So to map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires courage. And that is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And as the garbage truck goes by, I thought this was really fitting because sometimes when we're making decisions, if we have a little bit more information, like the things that we're going to share today, and you can ask yourself these questions, I think it makes it a little easier to summon up that courage when we do make a decision. And it's easier to find the right course for us. And when we are getting the naysayers or someone, we get this all the time. And oftentimes I think it comes from people wanting to be helpful. Oh, well, you should really try this, or this is really what you need. Oh, no, it's over here. And I think they do most times want to be helpful. But when we're making decisions based on the things that are actually right for us, it's then easier to say, no, not now. No, that's not going to work, and kind of follow our course to get us to where we want to go.
Excellent. All right. So this is this is the slide deck of questions. And I think the first thing that I would really encourage you to do if you're thinking about getting support in your business is to think about the questions that you need to ask and to ask the questions. I could probably put a permission slip up here right now that it is okay to ask questions to find out whether or not something really is a good fit, and also to um, look at this decision making process as a process, and to give it some time and space in order to make a good decision. And that's in many ways, having a list of questions to ask is a way of slowing down the decision. And, uh, I find with some people, we've got people who are kind of over investors in their business and under investors in their business. And if you happen to be in team over investor, you may have found that you've bought things that in hindsight and upon further reflection, you probably wish you didn't. Um, I know I have a hard drive full of stuff that I've purchased that never even looked at. Um, Other people have go on buying sprees for things like shoes. I go on buying sprees for education. It's kind of a weakness, and um, for me to slow down and ask more questions is something I've been doing uh, a lot in recent years, trying to make better decisions about where I invest in terms of getting help in my business and making sure that it's really what I need. And that's paid off really well. The investments that I do make tend to be better. I tend to get more out of it because I stop and reflect and ask them good questions going in. So I'll share some questions with you today that I would encourage you to ponder. And hey, if I miss any questions, if you have some questions you ask yourself or some advice you want to share, I'd love to hear it. Put it in the chat, type it into the Cozy Office. Let's make each other better consumers and also better selling our things. So with that, this slide deck is dedicated to the people in the future who are reading this and get this information early. Because this is a quote that we get from a lot of people. I wish I had met you guys earlier. It comes up a lot. It's probably one of the most popular things that my clients have said to me. And part of it is because of how we specialize, and that we specialize in working with earlier stage businesses. And a lot of times people decide to buy programs that they're not ready for. So when they meet us, it's like we fill in some of those gaps. So this comes up a fair bit. So this presentation is dedicated to you. If you happen to be looking at this going, oh, I haven't bought anything yet, this could be very, very helpful. Help you make a good decision. So in terms of questions, I thought we'd just kind of fall back on this old structure, the journalist structure here of who, what, when, where, why, and how. Let's run the gamut of these questions about what we need to be asking, beginning with who. And when you think about who you want to get help and support from in your business, a good question to start with is, do they help businesses like yours? Uh, do the clients they work with look kind of like you? Uh, Similar size of business, similar industry, the business model, however you make money. If you make money with life coaching, do they help people make money with life coaching, or are they more about helping people sell digital products? So it's just a really good question, especially if you notice that they tend to specialize in a certain type of client. And you could often find this by looking at a testimonials page. It's like, okay, who are the kinds of businesses? And for example, a lot of business coaches specialize in helping other other business coaches, and it's very much around, business, 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 and the stuff that they do doesn't necessarily translate well into other kinds of coaching. So things like that. The level, we're going to talk about levels, of course, later on, but do they work with your level of business? And it's, once again, it's like, what are the testimonials that they're trotting out when they talk about what they do? Who are those people? What are they doing? It can be really helpful to get help from people who work with the kind of business that you work with. Um, do your values align? Um, it's advice tends to come laced in values. it's it just does, right? Honesty is big for me, big for Georgie. Uh, Honesty, authenticity, and that stuff comes through in the advice that we give, right? Um, Not everybody holds those same values. And if your values don't align, if you find that the person that you're considering or following, that you're like, that's a sign that it's probably not a good fit. There's lots of people out there, lots of choices to make, and it can be helpful to find someone who aligns with your values. Can you see yourself doing business in the way that they do business? Or are you actually kind of holding your nose going, yeah, this sounds really good. This person's kind of not in alignment. There's no way I would do what they're doing, but I'm going to buy it anyhow because the promise sounds pretty good. Um, you can ask me and my credit card how this works out. Not well. I mean, when we moved, our latest move, like about a year ago, I threw out a great big expensive box of crap that I bought from somebody where the promise sounded really, really good, but the actual stuff that they sent was stuff that there was no way on earth I'd be able to execute. And it was just like, goodbye into the recycle bin that went. So uh, these are kind of important considerations when you're looking at things. If you're looking for something that's got to fit. Um, what? What do you need? What do you really need? Is this about learning something new? Or is this about implementing? And when I talk about implementing, I mean getting something done. So do you need to learn about how to make websites, or do you need to create the website? Creating the website would be the implementation. Learning about it would be something else. And sometimes those of us who identify as lifelong learners tend to look at, all problems as being something we need to learn. And sometimes it's not so much that we need to learn it as much as we need to implement it, or as much as we need to perform. Like, we actually need to be taking action, that we have enough learning already and we have things implemented, but what we need to do next is to act. And we have this tendency, I think, to avoid the thing that we really need to do in favor of the thing that we prefer to do. So if you're like me, this is a really good question to ask. It's like, do I actually need to learn something, or do I need to implement it? And if I need to implement it, maybe I need a different kind of support. If I need to perform, that might be a different kind of support than learning. So this can be a useful question to ask, like, what is this thing that you're needing some help with? And along with the what question, when you're looking at the offer, what is the actual offer? And there's a ladder here, because this is how marketing works, okay? This is how marketing works and how marketing consulting works. The client comes in and they're selling something. So let's say, for example, they're selling meditation. And the marketing consultant says, so what are you selling? And the person says, meditation classes. And the consultant says, oh, so what do people get out of meditation classes? Oh, they get to clear their mind. They get more relaxed. They get more peaceful. And then the marketing person says, so when they're more relaxed and when they're more peaceful, what happens there? What can they do? And by the way, what we want to talk about is money and relationships. We want to talk about the stuff that people will pay for. So does it help you make money? Does it help you lose weight? Does it help you meet the man of your dreams? Right? And they're like, oh, well, I guess it could help with any of those things. Um, you know, how about business? Well, they can make money. Oh, okay. So somebody's in business and they meditate and they get relaxed and calm and peaceful. Then they can execute better and they can make more money in their business. They're like, yeah, I guess that would be true. And the marketer says, okay, so if they're making money in their business, let's put a number on this. How much money could they be making in their business? They go, I don't know. I guess it would depend on the business they're in. Well, what if they're in a big business? Well, it could be millions. Got it. Meditation for millions. This is actually how it works. This is marketing. It's like people want to buy what they want to buy, and they want to buy a result. And we have this tendency to keep generalizing up and up and up until you get a general result, which is why pretty much any business offering that is being put in front of you is going to talk about getting more clients to make more money. It always comes down to getting more clients and making more money because that's what people are after. But sometimes the offer itself is just a small piece of the puzzle. It doesn't mean that the offer is bad. It doesn't mean that the person selling it is a terrible person. And it doesn't mean that it might not have a very, very good result for somebody. But for example, if somebody is selling something like Facebook advertising, that's a small part of your marketing system. And it might be the last little chunk, the last little piece that clicks into place and makes everything work. And then that could be awesome and it could get you what you need. But if you're looking at the results only and you're not taking a look at what's actually being offered and making sure that it fits with what you need, you may find yourself feeling disappointed. Ask me and my credit card how we know about this stuff. So it's a good question to figure out. It's like, what exactly am I getting? And this can be a difficult question to answer, especially with the really, really, really well done copywriting and slick advertising. You'll see that it's all focused on the end result, and there's very little um, lots of benefit, not a lot of feature, not a lot of details about what you get and how it works. And those can be good questions to ask. What do I get? How does this work? What exactly am I going to get? How exactly is this going to work? Great questions to ask. What is the potential return on investment? This is another thing that gets kind of weaponized by marketers as well, especially if you're dealing with business stuff and it's about marketing and sales and making money, is kind of a simple question. How many new clients do you need to sign up in order to pay for it? It's a dangerous question to ask. And at the same time, it can be helpful and clarifying, especially if you're thinking about making a fairly significant investment in your business. It's kind of like, okay, how many new clients do I need in order to pay for this thing? How many new clients do you need if you're going to, buy into a $60,000 coaching program? It might be a lot. How many clients do you need to sign up for something that's, the $2,000 or $3,000? Well, maybe not so many. So it can be helpful to think about that, and then to look at afterwards. Did you get that result? I often when I this is one of the key things that I use when I'm making decisions. Uh, how many clients do I need to get to pay for this, and will this help me get those clients? And then I track it. Did I get any additional business because of this thing that I did? Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And then that helps inform future decisions. So it's a good question to ask. Um, and if you're getting the right kind of support, like if all of the other questions line up and you are getting the right kind of support for what you're needing, this is the thing that kind of makes it a no-brainer. If this thing will actually do what you need in order to move forward, it can make sense to make that investment. Uh, but track it. Make sure, make sure you're learning from that. Uh, Next up in our category of questions is when. When is this thing that I'm considering what I need now, or is this more of a future thing? For those of us that get really excited about creating a vision and a plan and where we're going to be in the future, and especially just getting started, wanting to learn lots of stuff before getting going. I've talked to a lot of people who basically want to learn everything before they start, um, and often run into this investing prematurely, buying into level 3 type programs, um, just because they want to learn what they're going to learn in the what they're going to need in the future, so that they feel really secure and well prepared to get going now. Um, for the most part, probably better off focusing on what you need right now. It can be helpful in the beginning to get kind of a big picture lay of the land of where you're going, so that you've got some context. But beyond that, it's really about what do you need right now. And this can be a really good question. It's like, is this for me now? Or is this for the future? Because in the future, you can buy it in the future, right? Like you can always invest in the future, and in the future things may have shifted. We're, especially right now, we're living in a period of rapid change and uncertainty. That's not going to end. We were there, um, over the last few years. It's like things just speed up, speed up, speed up, and things change, and it often doesn't make sense uh, to learn something that you're going to need in a few years, because in a few years the landscape's going to change and you might need something different. Um, what level is it for? This is what level is it for? What level are you at? What level is the program for? Uh, uh, Way more information on the levels um, in our free giveaway recording assessment. We talk about levels, but level 1 is just getting started. You haven't worked with a lot of clients yet. Level 2 is when you start to get some clarity around what you're offering and who's going to buy it. Level 3 is about the scaling, the outsourcing, the automating, turning it into a machine. You want to pick something that aligns with your level, because level 3 things are not executable if you're a level 1 business. It's a really important question to ask. And along with it, it's kind of like, what level is it for really? Or what level is it best for? Because quite often level 3 programs, the people who sell them will tell you that they're okay for beginners. Um, and that might be true for the exception. The teeny tiny little exception to the rule, but it can be helpful to look at, okay, what level is it best for? And a program that is best for level 3. And this will often sound like, can you do it? Can you take, like, it'll be in the frequently asked questions section, or it'll come up in their webinar series or whatever. And somebody will say, is this okay if I'm just starting out? Will this work if I don't have a list? And the answer often sounds like, yes, it will work and it'll take more time. Or yes, it'll work and you'll need to work really hard. So that's often kind of code for no. It's like, yes, it'll work eventually once you get to level 3, is how I would interpret that. Um, so I'd be really, really, really careful about anything that's talking about scaling out, outsourcing, and automating when you're just starting out. It's uh, not good timing. Where? Where do you need the help? And once again, this is the assessment. This is your marketing system, right? 3 stages that you're needing to go through in order to make sales and get clients. Stage 1, you need to get in front of new people. People need to know that you exist. This is the marketing. This is putting yourself out there, advertising, networking, connecting. Um, Social media falls into that. Level 2 in this, or step 2 in this system, is about educating, building a like and trust, content marketing, webinars, classes, conversations with people, that in between state. This is blogging, podcasts, videos, all of that kind of stuff. Third stage is the sales conversation, having that conversation with people. And it's like, where do you need the help? Where are you comfortable? Where are you set? And where do you need the help in it? This is a really good question to ask, because you may find yourself in an area that you're avoiding. Now, this is once again speaking from my experience. This is my comfort zone. Is in the stage 2. I like teaching. I like creating slide decks. I like writing. I like the educational piece of it. I I built my business through offering free workshops or cheap workshops and webinars and stuff like that. Uh, that's my comfort area. And when I started off, I kind of ignored step 1 and step 3. I went right to step 2, and I figured step 2 was going to be everything. And I took a lot of courses and classes, and I just want to learn more and more and more and do more and more in step 2, because that's what I like. That's where I like to play. It's comfortable in a way. Uh, but I'll tell you, when I finally looked at what was happening and looked after step 3, uh, that resulted in my first 10K month. It was just like the results were ridiculously high, because I had been neglecting this area. And sure, I was making some sales doing my step 2 education stuff, but as one of my clients put it to me, Patty, you're awfully hard to buy from. I became easier to buy from. And when I look at what Georgie and I do, we got step 2 and 3 kind of nailed, and our focus now is on 1. We need to get in front of more people. That's where we're at in our business, and we see this. Sometimes people are really comfortable with step 1. They're social butterflies at the networking events. They're on Facebook or social media all the time, constantly meeting new people, but very superficial, opening a lot of relationships, but not taking them deeper. Like, and so they gravitate to more of that, more of that, more of that, because that's the comfort zone. So it's helpful to look at, okay, where's the area I'm avoiding? And work this backwards. You want to create the little nest in stage 3 so that you can close sales before it's kind of like if you think about your pipeline as a hose. You don't want to pour a lot of water into a hose that has a big cut in it. You want the hose to go right into the bucket. So you want to create your bucket first, right? So helpful to figure out where you're at here. And I'm going to draw your attention to the free giveaway on the website because it's got an assessment. This video talks about the levels and about the assessment and what you need in your marketing system. So if you haven't seen that, you can get that for free on the web on our website. It'll help you figure out where to focus in order to get help. There's a why question. Why do I want this thing that I'm considering buying? A valid question. What it's going to do for me? Is this what I need, or am I avoiding something? Is it about the experience? Is it going to be fun? Do I just like learning things? Do I want to go on this coaching program because I get to fly to California and rub shoulders with a bunch of people and have an exciting experience where we wave our arms in the air and dance? And it's like, is that what you're wanting, right? Is it the experience? And for some people, that's motivating and it's inspiring, and that's what they want to do, is they want to go and hang out with a lot of people and, really fuel up their hopes and their dreams and high five with their neighbors and stuff like that. And if that's what it takes to keep you going and to move you forward in your business, if that's what you're looking for, then make sure that what you're signing up is going to give you what you need. It's like we have no judgments about what you need or what you want. Just be clear about what it is that you're buying, and make sure that it aligns with what's going to take you forward. That's what we want for you. The how question. How? How do you prefer to get support? And along with this is like, what kind of support really works for you? So do you want to get this support or information that you need in a course? And is the thing that you're looking at, is it something that you really need to learn? Or do you just have a preference for learning versus something else? Is collaboration what you're looking for? Would it help if you had somebody to work with you to complete what you're working on? Not just teach you how to do it, but maybe help you implement it and get it done collaboratively. Is that what you're looking for? Is it coaching? And what kind of coaching do you need? Do you need some accountability? Do you need somebody asking you questions to help you get some clarity? Do you need advice and feedback? And different coaches offer different kinds of coaching services. Some coaches uh, do not give feedback and advice. It's part of how they approach coaching, and it's part of their definition of what coaching is, that they don't do that. And it's what I learned in coaching school. No advice, no feedback. We're not supposed to do it. Some of us who would call ourselves coaches do provide advice and feedback, but not all do. Four tendencies quiz, Gretchen Rubin's stuff. If you haven't done that yet, do the four tendencies thing to find out, do you need accountability or do you need clarity? They're two different things, two different drivers for two different kinds of people, and you're going to need a different kind of coaching depending on what you need, and get what you need. If you need accountability, get accountability. If you need clarity, get the clarity, because you'll be stuck otherwise. But coaching is like, if you need to take some action, coaching can be really, really, really helpful for that. Or is this something you just need completed for you? A good question to ask, especially for those of you who are um, lifelong learners, love to take a class, love to learn something new, is this something you need to do on an ongoing basis, or is this a one-off? I use website as a great example here. Setting up your website initially, installing, uh, figuring out your web hosting, installing a website, getting it set up, getting it configured, getting it designed, getting all of the plugins working and the e-commerce and the download buttons and the contact forms and all of that stuff. The initial setup gets done once. Ongoing, you might want to make some edits and some changes or post a blog or something like that. It's often a really good decision just to hire out the one-off thing, because you do not need to learn. There's a huge learning curve of stuff that you're only going to have to do once. So it makes sense just to get a professional to do it. Same with setting up your books. Get a bookkeeper who knows what they're doing to set it up for you, and then show you just how to keep it up to date if you want to do that stuff yourself. This often comes down to a time versus money kind of a comparison. But for some things, the amount of time invested is just so much better used somewhere else. Uh, so it's a really good question to ask when you're looking at learning something. It's like, am I learning something I'm only going to use once? Probably not a great investment of your time. Learning something that you can do on an ongoing basis makes a lot of sense if that's a task that you want to perform. If you're looking for courses, what kind of courses work for you? What really works for you, not necessarily which do you prefer. Me, I prefer to read. Where do I learn? When I take a class that's facilitated and I have to sit my butt in a chair and get the work done. That's what works. I prefer to read the book because it's faster and it's fun, but it doesn't really work. What's your learning style? Audio? Do you learn by listening? Can you put on a headset, go for a walk, listen to something and learn it? Do you need video? Do you need something? Do you need an image? Do you need visuals in order to learn? Are you kinesthetic? Do you learn by doing? Does the course or class that you're thinking about taking match your learning style? I've made mistakes in the past buying learning that's audio only, nothing to look at, nothing to do. I score like a 0 in audio when I do the learning style kind of thing. It doesn't work for me. I won't listen to it and I won't get anything out of it. I need to do and I need to see. So what do you need? And it does this thing you're thinking about taking, does it give you that? Do you want it drip, 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 one thing at a time, 1 week at a time, so that you don't get overwhelmed? Or does that frustrate you because you'd rather do something in a marathon over a weekend? Which works for you? Which do you prefer? Um, Self-paced or facilitated? I love buying self-paced stuff. I do stuff that's facilitated. Uh, what works for you? What do what do you really need? Um, and a good thing to do this, if you're one of these people who buys a lot of courses, like what have you completed and what have you quit? This often just tells you, it's like, oh, am I going to add this to the graveyard of courses on my hard drive that I've never looked at? or or am I going to do something uh, that I've actually completed in the past? It can be very enlightening to look at this. If your choice is coaching, what kind of coaching works for you? Do the clarity or accountability piece that we talked about a minute ago, is which are you primarily looking for? If you've got an accountability coach that's just going to be on you about what actions are you going to take, did you do the actions, why didn't you do the actions, without helping you figure out what the actions should be, then that could be a problem. So like, which do you need? Do you know what you need to do? You're clear about what you need to do. You just need somebody to make sure that you do it, or to figure out why you're not doing it? Or are you kind of lost about what to do? I, I'm a clarity person. I need clarity to move forward. I worked with an accountability coach. It just didn't fit. They're trying to push me to take actions and name actions, and I couldn't do it because I didn't know what I was doing. This is not a good fit. So what works for you? Do you need advice and feedback? If you do, if this is part of what you're looking for, this can be a really good question to ask of a coach. Do you offer advice and feedback? And if they go more like the prescribed ICF model or whatever, they'll be like, no, that's not what coaching is about. So good question to ask. Do you want your coaching to be private, focused on you, one-to-one? Or would you prefer group coaching? Do you participate in groups? Do you find it helpful to be in a group? Do you find that you learn better by seeing multiple examples of what other people are doing and hearing feedback that comes from other people? Some people find this really helpful and really enlightening, and they find it easier to learn the material when it's somebody else's rather than personal to them. Others get distracted because they're not able to discern that the advice for that person is not necessarily the advice for them. So how does that work for you? Do you leave a group coaching class feeling, motivated to move forward on what you are doing? Or do you leave going, oh, I want to do what that other person is doing, and you end up chasing bright, shiny objects? Group size, small group, large group. You're energized by being in a group of 2,000 people, or would you rather be in a small group of 6 or 8 or 10? What's a good fit for you? And so those are questions. There are probably more. Those are some of the questions. We also have a wee bit of U-shaped advice here to consider, and this is specifically for those of us who run these kind of U-shaped, more creative businesses that grow and evolve and change, which is very, very, very different from running a conventional kind of a business that stays the same. Um, Learn how to cut your own cookies. If um, if you offer, for example, bookkeeping, you can hire a copywriter and a website developer and a marketing person to put together all of your stuff, all of your materials. It's done once and it's done. Bookkeeping isn't going to change. You're probably not going to make a lot of changes about how you work with your clients. It's pretty set in stone. If you are in a growing, evolving business where you're thinking about offering new programs, new products, new services, working with different people, doing things a little bit differently. If you take courses to further your own education, you add stuff to your services, and you're constantly growing and changing and evolving, you're going to have to be able to create your own copy, like, your own communication. You're going to need to know how to put that together, because it's constantly going to change, or else you're going to be hiring copywriters over and over and over again. So it can really make sense to learn the principles behind communication and marketing, and talking to people both in person and in writing. It's just helpful for every time you introduce something new, that you can modify something. Um, so it can be helpful to learn to cut your own cookies if you do this kind of work, because you will be doing it over and over and over again, because it comes with the territory. Um, Beware the shiny objects and the marketers who sell them. It can be really, really distracting, and especially for us in U-shaped businesses, we're always kind of open to new ideas, and we're a little bit creative and see so many possibilities. This can be a real downfall. Um, so it can be really, this is part of the clarifying questions here. It's like, okay, where are you going? What are you doing? Can you stay that path? And this one, are you being pressured into a quick decision for a significant investment? This is my personal um, rant mission. Is I hate this kind of marketing. I hate it, hate it, hate it. The fast action bonus, the make a decision before you get off the call with me in the next 3 minutes, you'll save $10,000. Um, I do my best work with fast action takers. Make a decision now. This comes from investing $30,000 in one of those programs that did the time pressure, sell from the stage, mesmerize kind of things. That was my $30,000 lesson that I share with you. As a client put it, the bus always comes around again. That time limited webinar offer where you can by the time the countdown timer clicks down or whatever, yeah, the offer goes away not forever, but until the next time you register for the same damn webinar or go to the same damned event. The price might go up a little bit, but if it's worthwhile, you can wait. And I would just, my personal advice is if somebody is doing this for you, it'd be a really, really, really good time to say, nope, I need time to think about it. If you're not going to hold the deal, I'm not going to buy from you. Um, I think that thinking about something, especially if it's a significant investment, requires some significant thought, and that people that are pushing you to make that decision with a ridiculously short period of time are not working in your best interests. So that's my advice from experience on that one. I am dead set against this kind of marketing. Um, sunk costs. Sometimes we invest the $30,000 in the high pressure situation and end up with something that isn't a good fit for us. Sunk costs is a tendency that because we paid for something, we want to complete it, we want to hold on to it, we don't want to move away from it. And continuing, like, the money is gone. The 30,000, like my $30,000 is gone. It's in the past. I do not have it. Today is a new day, a new fresh day. And if I carry forward that investment and continue to implement something that isn't a good fit, just because I've paid for it, I'm doing myself a disservice right now. So every day is a fresh slate. I often suggest a thought exercise of, imagine that today you walk into your business and you just bought it from somebody and you have no emotional attachment to anything, not to the clients, not to the services, not to your marketing, not to your logo, not to your name, not to your website. What decision do you make today? That's a kind of a thought experiment that takes you away from sunk costs. Would you buy this program again today? And if you wouldn't, why are you still in it? It's like it's like the graveyard of stuff on my hard drive. It's like the money is gone. I wouldn't buy it today. It's not worth my time and attention. Today is a new day, and the last thing you want to do is throw good time or good money after a bad investment. So 2 permission slips for you today. One based on the sunk cost. The sunk cost thing is to let go or pause something that isn't working. And often that is, investing in a level 3 thing when you're at level 1. Press pause, put it aside, go back to it. Do your level 1 work, get your clarity in level 2, then you can jump back into it and make it work in the future should you decide to do so. Totally okay. And if it was not a good fit, let it go. Learn from the experience and just let it go. Let it go back into the stream of time or whatever. And secondly, to choose support that works for you, whatever that looks like. Whatever helps you move forward and do what you need to do, that's the right support for you. Do that. Um, oh, where's my question mark slide? I don't know. But we're at questions, comments. What do you think? Do you have additional comments? Additional questions?
Questions, comments, thoughts. We have a very full chat with lots of thoughts and comments as you were going through it, for sure. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Lots of recognition with the over-investor. Definitely an over-investor. Love the idea of slowing down and asking questions. Asking questions is so beneficial, and I think anytime we get in that space where we feel like we don't have the time to slow down and ask a question is probably the perfect time to slow down and ask the question. It's because it's where when that pressure starts to build and it's like, okay, if that's happening, that's my signal, that's my lightning bolt, whatever you want to call it, to stop. I'm going to stop, I'm going to step away, and I'm going to ask some questions.
Yeah. Especially especially in the time pressure kind of situation. Yeah. This is a wonderful thing about the world we live in too. It's like there are so many options for support.
So
you can find something that fits for you. And it's an important thing to do. If you're going to invest in support in your business, it's an important decision to make. And yeah, it's like get something that's going to be a fit.
Yeah, it's so important, because especially when you're making significant investment, but either time or money.
And often both.
And often both, exactly. And you want the thing that's going to really fit you and help you with where you're at. And again, I think those are some of the questions we don't often think about. Where am I right now? Where am I wanting to go? What is the piece that I need right now that's going to help me continue to move forward? And not just cut the hose, basically. How am I repairing my leaks in the way that they need to be repaired right now?
Mm-hmm.
So important. Okay, I'm gonna cruising through. Really, really great presentation, Patty, and ×2 because it is for both sides, being a potential client for something and being someone who offers a potential client something. Thanks so much. Very useful. Yeah, and I think that's another thing too. Like this often baffles me sometimes is, we get these things like, I hate those time pressured things. Hate them. Can't stand them. Or a lot of different marketing things that we don't like as consumers. And then we will take a course. They will say, you need to do this. No, you got to put a time thing in there. You've got to offer the scarcity thing. And we do it even though we know we hate it. And I would say the only time that I'm okay with someone saying where there's a time thing is if it's for real. Our program registration closes on this date. For real. Now you have up until that date to sign up, no problem. But it's for real. It's not, oh, we've just opened up 5 more spots. Oh, we've decided to extend it for, 3 more days, blah, blah, blah. If it's for real, no problem. But If it's just a thing to try to manipulate people to buy now, I hate it. So notice the things that you particularly don't like as a buyer, and if you're implementing those in your marketing because someone's told you that's how you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't.
You get to choose. You get to choose who you work with, or how you work, right? Like, you don't have to do the marketing things because people say that you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like pop-ups. I hate pop-ups on websites. In fact, I don't think I've ever met anybody. If you're a person in the chat that you love pop-ups, if you let me know, I'd love to know somebody who thinks pop-ups, those are awesome. I just love being interrupted and having to find a little X that they keep hiding to get rid of this stupid thing, right? Like, I'm not going to put a pop-up on my site, and I don't care how many people talk about, oh, and increase the number of people who sign up for your thing. And I'm like, I'm not sure it would increase the number of people that would sign up for my thing that would be the kind of people that I'd want signing up for my thing. It's kind of
Exactly.
like it's but it's like, oh yeah, I hate them, but I put them on my site because they work. Because it works, in my perspective, is not a good enough reason.
No, agreed. And works for who? Like, right? It's a continuing to ask those questions. Oh, this is good. Would love to hear more about the buying guide. Will you be doing a session focused on how to create one?
Wasn't planning on it, but I will. That's actually probably a really good idea. I'm going to add it to the list of topics, because it is really smart to put something like this together for people to help them make a decision. I mean, we advise one of our clients to do that, to put together a buying guide, and an unbiased one. Like, you can put together a buying guide that looks like, here's why you should buy my thing. Like, everything in the buying guide points to buying your thing. Not like that, but kind of like a nice unbiased one, so that you get right fit clients, because we're big on the fit, right? And yeah, it works. I mean, we got a client almost immediately after they published their buying guide. It was a lot of work to put it together, but someone read it and said, yeah, it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to know that you are the right fit for me. It can also be exactly what they need to know that they're not the right fit for you, which is good too. So,
Exactly.
good. Got another vote. I just saw a chat. Another vote for the
Another
buying
vote
guide.
for the buying guide. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And this is so awesome, right? We love it when you say, hey, we'd like more of this. Can you talk to us more about that? Can you create something around this topic? I'm kind of struggling over here. I'm not sure how to do this or how to do that. We love that kind of information, because then it's helpful for us to know that we're giving you things that you want to see, that you want to learn about. For sure. You've got a lot of the buying guide already done for you from your slide deck.
There's a method to the madness here. This is something. It's a significant undertaking to put together a good buying guide, to think this stuff through about what kind of questions people should ask and what your answers are to those questions. That would probably be the part that's missing from this one, from our perspective. Is kind of, it's almost like you could put a chart, right? Our program, this kind of program, this kind of program, this kind of program. What it includes, what it doesn't. Like, if you look at, sometimes they do this for software. They will take other software services that are in the same industry, and they'll make a nice chart, and they'll go, okay, this is what ours does. And this is what our competitors do. Like, it's really helpful for a person to make a decision, to look at that and go, oh, okay. Especially the ones that are honest, where what ours does is not every check mark.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
ours does everything. Over here, you only get this, this, and this.
Yeah, because you can tell they left off the feature functionality that they don't have, right? But if they include it, then it's like, it's like, yeah, cool. I don't need it for enterprise. I don't need it for teams, right? Like, I'd be able to tell.
Exactly.
Or like, oh, wow, that's really important to me. This isn't going to be a fit.
Exactly. And sometimes it pops up things too that you hadn't actually thought about. It's like, oh, do I need that feature or not? Would that be important to me? Is it important to me now? Will it be important to me soon? Let me see. I love just the curiosity and being able to just continue to ask questions to make a decision that works for me and where I'm at. And I don't really care what anyone else is doing, but like really when I'm looking to do certain things, it's like but I have to be really clear about, where I am, what I need, and what's going to be the best thing for us. Like right now, we're talking about getting in front of more people. So I'm consciously aware that we're looking at getting in front of new people. Hence, I'm taking this couple different little Facebook group challengey things and stuff, gathering information to just see, not dropping cash yet, but I'm looking, right? I'm paying attention to what's out there. What do I need to do? Because I know where we're focused at. It's relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant right now, and it's less of a distraction. Exactly. I often see testimonials for programs afterwards. It's like, this was awesome. This was amazing. It was really fun. I learned a lot. I can't use it now, but it'll be great in the future, and I'm glad I know it. And it's like, and I'm like, you just took however many months of your life to learn something that you can't implement now. You've set your business back that many months.
Exactly.
How is that awesome?
How is that? Yeah. Yeah.
Although I look at those kind of testimonials as like, oh, this could be such a nice, clear sign for someone else with a level 1 business who could look at that and go, okay, I'm not ready for this yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you want to share announcements? I'm sure we have announcements.
Do we have announcements? We have Friday review on Friday. We have a class starting on Saturday.
Yes.
Which gives you a couple more days to think about it.
That's right. A couple more days to think about it to determine if it is the right fit for you and where you're at, delivered in the way that you need and the way that is going to work for you.
And should you have any questions, you can ask us.
Exactly.
Because we like answering questions.
We like answering questions. Exactly. Absolutely. Very, very, very cool. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, yeehaws, whatever you want to add on this wonderful Wednesday?
Wonderful Wednesday. I like that.
Wonderful Wednesday. That's right. That's right. All right. I don't think I missed anything. I get distracted sometimes when a new question pops up as I'm going back through. But overall, looks like it was just a really beneficial deck today.
Excellent.
So, there we go.
There we go. Wrapping up 2 minutes early.
What?
I'm impressed. I wasn't sure. I had a lot of slides. I had a lot to say. Wasn't sure I'd get it all out in time.
You did.
There we go.
That's okay. I don't mind the 2 minutes early. I'm heading out for a hike, so woohoo!
Woohoo! So we will see you back here Friday. Same bad time.
That's right. Same bad channel.
Bye for now.